Greetings and salutations. It's your man CD, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. And I'm out here in the Southern California sunshine, making my way through this quarantine like everyone else. Hopefully you're all home, safe, and healthy. I want to do a quick shout out to Carl and Anthony, who are the leaders of the A2theK WrestleTalk Podcast. You guys can watch that on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, etc., etc. And I just want to say I appreciate their support. The guys at AEW, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for fans like you guys. And I'm sure Carl and Anthony feel the same way about all of you that listen to A2theK WrestleTalk. So keep listening to A2theK WrestleTalk. You guys stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you later.
Welcome one and all to another week of A2theK's WrestleTalk Podcast. How many weeks are we in now, Carl? I feel like we've been doing this for a while.
Well, yeah,
we started a few months now.
Yeah, we started it. When was it? Early March, end of Feb.
Yeah, see, I'm measuring it with wrestling. Like we started at the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. but yeah, it's February probably. But either way, it's been great fun. I think we've learned a lot from it. Hopefully, we are getting better and more entertaining with any luck. And obviously, anyone who's listening to this will have noticed that we've actually got a nice shout out there from Christopher Daniels, which is fantastic.
Cool is that?
It's amazing. So again, obviously, he's done his best for us there. It's really good. It's fantastic, and can't thank him enough really for that. That was brilliant. So that's unfortunately going to bug you at the beginning of most of our podcasts now because I'm absolutely made up with it. So
deservedly so.
And this is exactly why we are AEW fanboys, because they're fantastic with the fans as well, as it shows.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know whether you'll agree, but that the line where he said, obviously, it's AEW wouldn't be where it is without fans like us. I took that very personally. They obviously value me and you specifically.
Specifically, mate. Yeah, I'm expecting our tickets to the next time they can do a live event in the post.
Well, that's it. So if you're listening, Cody, make it happen, man. Make it happen.
Yeah, we love you as well, Cody. Come on. Right, so we'll kick off. I won't bother doing the intros to the segments because we're all getting used to the status quo by now, aren't we? So we'll kick off with This Week in Wrestling. So Carl, I believe you want to run us through Raw, the fantastic Raw.
I think, it still baffles me that this show is 3 hours long and they don't manage to fill it with that much good stuff. That being said, the opening promo segment from Drew McIntyre, I mean, firstly, how the fuck did he get this so wrong? He comes out and he's got the Universal title name card under him.
I couldn't believe that fuck up. It's like, this is still pre-recorded stuff. How did you not notice that in editing? Jesus Christ.
Insane. Like, fucking hell. Like, you fired half the bloody roster. Fire that guy.
Yeah. I mean, unless he's like predicting the future, maybe, I don't know. But I understand, they're trying to put these out fairly quick. I say fairly quick. They're pre-recorded. He's had ages to edit that and review it, whoever this fucking editor was. So yeah, weird fuck up. It's not even the right Universal title. It's not been read for fucking ages.
Exactly. It was absolutely weird. But I don't think what's the expression? Start as you mean to go on. I don't think that's I don't know whether that's a very accurate representation of this week's Raw, but definitely not for the opening segment anyway, because I think opening segment wise was really, really good. I think Drew comes out and he's turned into a really good promo, Drew.
I think he's hit a stride with it now, hasn't he? I think he knows what he's doing, which is mad because he seems to have found that stride with no audience for the most. So how did he must try it and then look at the feedback on social media, maybe, I don't know. But considering he's pre-recorded a lot of this, it goes to show he's obviously honed his craft a little bit in that sense, because he did. Well, I remember when he sort of first started getting that main scene push before he was in the title scene, and he was around a lot more. He wasn't that strong on the mic. He had a strong presence. He's a big fella, but no, he's certainly come into his own since the Rumble, really.
Well, that's it. I think, I don't know, maybe he's just got a much better understanding of who he is now. Do you know what I mean? And it proper exudes out of him. It doesn't feel forced. It's just so refreshing. Like his candor, the way he speaks, the way just the way he is. He just does stuff different. Like, he doesn't care if he breaks like the fourth wall. He brings the camera closer and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel overproduced. Like, other main eventers in the past, you can clearly see they're being fed lines and catchphrases and so on
Not
and so
naming any
forth.
names.
Yeah, big dog. But obviously there's things like the Claymore stuff, which does get a bit overused. You can tell he's still being fed that, but he just feels so kind of organic as promo. And this week.
Sorry to interrupt. I do think you're right about the Claymore thing. I think they've gone, we want another Suplex City. So that's the thing that he's told to push. But everything else feels natural, like you say.
Well, exactly. And I think this week's one was no different. He comes out and, being a fighting champion that he is, he challenges Seth to a match at Money in the Bank as a form of retribution for what he did to him previously. And then Zelina comes out, who I've got to say, I think she's pretty good entertaining as well. I'm quite a big fan of Zelina.
She's definitely good. Like, considering the three of them. I mean, Austin has got no excuse, but there is a bit of a language barrier for the other two. But they definitely need the manager in Zelina. And she's good at what she does. She's good at getting the points across. And to be honest, I've been more invested in this feud than I was the shock of Rollins attacking Drew McIntyre last week, or the fact that they're going to be fighting at Money in the Bank. There's more story, more history, and more build-up between both McIntyre and Vega that invests me in this more. So much credit to her for that.
Definitely, and I think as well, it's interesting. She's almost brought back factions or like stables with that amount. You know what I mean? I think back to the glory days of wrestling, where you had like Bobby the Brain Heenan, who would be managing like 10, 12 people. You'd have Jimmy Hart managing 5 or 6 different tag teams and wrestlers as well. And I feel like I've missed that for a while, so I think it's quite nice to see that kind of stable back where you've got a manager who looks after multiple talents.
I take your point on that, and to be honest, now's the time to do it. They've probably a couple of weeks ago before they sacked half the roster would have been a good time to do it. But they've got a lot of talent there, and a lot of talent that doesn't get seen. So why not use it to get some talent out there? And like you say, to go back to that slightly older thing of like, she's got more than one client. Why not? It's business. It's how it works. So it feels organic anyway.
Yeah, defo. And Drew just made me laugh again. He's just quite a witty man, isn't he? When she comes out and he's basically like, here's the number one thorn in my ass. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think to your point, I'm more invested in like the little banter that Drew and Zelina and the kind of stuff that's going on with that faction than I have been with Seth. So, but I mean,
there's not a lot of people he can go up against, for the title match at the minute, but. Like, I'm not asked that he's going against Seth. The only time I'll be bothered about the match is if Seth wins it, then I'll be pissed off. Other than that, yeah, fine, have it. I'm not invested in it. Yeah,
I mean, it's whatever happens is WWE in it, so you can never count your chickens. But this kind of led to a sneak attack by Andrade, who kind of takes down Drew, and then obviously Zelina's telling the other two guys to go, kind of team up and take care of Drew. But by this point, he's got the upper hand on Andrade. And I thought this was quite interesting. Hopefully they're not breaking up the Mexican medley plus Austin Theory.
Yeah.
But
Mexican Theory?
I love it. That's it. The Mexican Theory. But yeah, like, I don't know. I kind of got vibes that, to be that much kind of dissension in the ranks so soon after them getting together, like they were, basically they said they weren't going to get in the ring and they weren't going to try and save Andrade at the end of it. So I don't know, like Zelina kind of came across as though she didn't have as much control as she had done previously.
I kind of hope, and it is possible, that they've done it more as a putting Andrade as the sort of the bravest or toughest one of the group, rather than planting that seed, because like you say, it'd be a bit too early to start doing that, although they were kind of thrown together as a as a stable anyway. But even so, we've got them there now. She's selling them well enough, so let's keep them for a bit.
So yeah, I thought it was handled quite well. I think Drew didn't come across as stupid this time, getting kind of caught off guard again by them. He, managed to hold his own and kind of scared the stable off. And, another just like a little delighter point off the back of it was where he just like talks to the camera and stuff, which I think is really good. He was like, you might want to put the kids to bed as I'm going to slaughter Angel Gaza.
It's that self-aware, isn't it? It's like, well, Why do they all act like they're not being recorded?
Yeah.
You see it in backstage segments when they're hatching evil plans, and it's like, guys, like we know that there's cameras on you. What's this about? And I much prefer storytelling like this, where he's totally aware that he's playing to an audience, even if it's an audience at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest travesties of all this is how good and how well Drew has been handling this kind of run with the title. Just the fact that there's no fans there to kind of lap it up, which is a massive shame. But
it's been the loneliest title run so far.
Definitely, but I think he's definitely doing something right, because I think everyone's still pretty over on him, and he's entertaining me massively every week. So
he's the best thing on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. So solid first segment, I thought. Potentially could be explaining why Austin Theory didn't want to get involved. He was then the next matchup of the night against Aleister Black. And again, Zelina was on commentary for this one. And, she is really good. I think she just plays that character really well. But I just think it's really weird seeing them on opposite sides. We saw the week before, because obviously, Black's banging her, isn't he? So
apparently so. I mean, hats off to you, Black. It's the only thing that redeems you in my eyes, to be honest with you, because everything about you screams edgy, but you're boring as fuck.
Do you know what? Right, I don't understand what this big thing is about Aleister Black. Like he can't cut a promo to save his life. He's passable in the ring. He's nothing fantastic, and everyone's proper creaming themselves over him. I don't understand.
But you see, this is the thing. I think this is largely the reason I don't like him, because I feel like it's all a bit too deliberate. Do you know what I mean? I don't. When something feels natural, like Drew McIntyre, it's easier to get behind, or it's easier to believe. Even if he's a heel, it's easier to believe. Aleister Black, everything feels like a deliberate attempt so that I think he's nuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like that bloke in your office who goes, "Oh, mad me," and you're like, "Why?" Because you wear a crazy tie. He's not. It's like even the way he cuts his promo this week, and he's like, "Oh, it's going to be at the headquarters, and I don't know if they'll let me in with these tattoos and stuff." It's like, are you new to wrestling? Have you look at Randy Orton and a lot of people have got tattoos. Aleister, you're not different.
That's what makes him edgy. He's got tattoos. He's even got one by his eye. Oh.
Well, no, fucking crazy. He's a crazy man. But the craziest thing about him is his fucking wardrobe, to be honest. His jackets are getting more and more weird. And, they might make him take his coat off. Oh, no. But, I don't know. I feel like everything's a massive attempt for me to think that he's edgy, and he's not. He's just a boring shit.
He's really not over with me. I literally don't understand what the internet wrestling community is kind of season him, really. And for me, even if he does get a little bit of a push, I mean, we'll come on to this in a little bit, but the Money in the Bank fucking lineup for that main match is shite. It's the worst lineup I've ever seen, the Money in the Bank. So for me, I think he's winning it, because who else is going to win it?
So, you make a massively good point. And I'll talk on it on SmackDown, but certain people who I wanted to get pushed aren't getting pushed as well, so that kind of annoys. But yeah, I don't get it either, Carl. And maybe we're just past it. Maybe we're both in our 30s and we just don't understand the kids these days. I don't know.
Who knows? But so Aleister Black wins. Yay. So fair dues. We then moved on to Shayna Baszler. Against another random jobber. And another stalwart in the promo aspect comes out and goes, I didn't break any rules. I just broke her arm. And then walks down the ring and then breaks some other fucking random jobber's arm. So it's like, hang on a minute. Is this just what we're going to see now every week? She's just going to come out and break people's arms? Surely if that's happening, then,
See, I've heard it I've heard it said as a good thing. I'll be honest with you, that it's good to see the intensity in her, in the sense that, she's there to inflict pain, so she doesn't care about the rules. But then another side of me is going, yeah, but she's a wrestler by profession. So, let's, and again, I prefer I don't know, I can take a break in reality. I'm a confusing person, I'll be honest, Carl, because I can take a break in reality and believe that there's an undead man who can teleport, right? But what does bug me is when she can consistently come out and break the rules, and they go, yeah, keep on having matches. realistically they go, well, no, because we're not going to put you in a match if you're not going to actually go in the match, and it's like, well, I don't know if she's good or not because she's not getting the pin victory. She's getting disqualified after night. She's going to have the worst fucking win record ratio on Raw because they're just going to keep putting her in these scenarios where she's out to hurt people. And again, if there's motivation, I really don't mind. But she didn't know who the fuck this woman was. So it's like, okay, so you're out to just hurt anyone randomly, apparently. Maybe that's why Becky Lynch didn't take it personal that she got bit. Maybe it's just maybe she realised a few weeks later how she just bites everyone. Fucking weird.
Yeah, that's just how she does things. But I mean, going back to the whole point about suspending disbelief as well. Like, I don't want to be kind of hit with the equality stick here, but she comes out and does this, and then she leaves the ring, and then gets a ladder, comes back, puts her arm in it, and then all this time, no one thinks to stop her. Like, even the referee could just go out and be like, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And he just there go, no, Shayna, no. Like, you can kind of get it when it's like fucking, I don't know, Randy Orton or someone, and they're much bigger than the referee and stuff like that. But like, just basic logic, whether she's a former MMA person or what, like, surely there's like an agent or two, or even the referee could have just been like, nah, what are you doing? Go away.
To be honest, I think it's not even an equality thing there, mate. I take your point, but I think it works with people like Randy who are established, but she's not that established. Like, we've seen it in the past with people like Braun Strowman and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, he's a big fella, but we'll get 20 odd people to come out and try and stop him. So It's not like they don't get people to try and stop him. And they could have, to be honest, it might have helped elevate her as a badass if a group of referees have come out, or a group of security have come out to try and stop her, and she's mowed them down with the ladder before taking this girl's arm out or whatever. But instead they just leave it to it because, it's just Shayna. She'll tire herself out. It's fine.
Exactly. So I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. It's one of them. I don't like her. She's not,
it's probably most of the problem, isn't it? It's like, she's shit because I don't like her.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is pretty much that. I am very biased, but
that's pretty much how we do the show, to be honest, mate.
They've done their job well in the sense that she feels like a main event star in the women's division now, and she's not long been here, so they've done that well. But at the same time, like, the way they've gone about it, like, you know what I mean? Stop breaking people's arms, stop biting people, just beat people in the ring and be dominant.
I think that's probably some of the bit that's missing for me, is that sometimes, or most of the time, when you get a heel, they're either credible in the ring and they win, and it's frustrating, or they get the Weasley win, where they pull some sort of shenanigan, but they still get in the victory. But the fact that she doesn't care is like, well, fuck off then. You're in wrestling. If you don't care, then don't be in wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she breaks arms now, apparently. Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like because they haven't got Ronda there, they're just going, well, Shayna was in MMA as well, so yeah, she can break people's arms. Let's do that.
I find I'm actually really quite surprised with WWE at this, because they like to lean on the UFC stuff heavily, like with Shayna, and obviously with Ronda and that. But even they bill it as like, look, she did some real fighting. And you wouldn't think WWE would want to do that. But
No.
They're so big on being like, see, she's actually tough, not like these fucking fake people we've got working for us. It's weird that they seem to book it that way.
Yeah, their kind of stance on things is heavily skewed by what's going on at the time. Do you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
I don't know, like, when it suits, they'll be like, MMA is amazing. But then, most of the time, they're like, but in MMA, you don't get to see people doing fucking 960 splashes. So
yeah. Flopping in it. And I think it's a bit of a shame, just my last mention on this match, that the reference to Sarah Logan, you think they might have left that alone, given that she got the boots the week after. And I believe she was originally scheduled to appear on Raw this week, and obviously, given the circumstances, that didn't happen. So to me, I understand that it happened last week and it was done to build Shayna, but maybe just throw a bit of tact out there and leave it be.
Well, we'll come on to it in a little bit, but tact is not something that they practice at all, because there's even more Sarah Logan stuff to talk about in a little bit. But
awesome.
That was that for the Shayna match. Then our favourite tag team of Rick O'Shea and Cedric the Entertainer come out.
Do you know what? Before we get on to that, right, I will say I'm starting to enjoy these two as a tag team, and I hope that they carry on tag team. And I think it's a good use of the pair of them, and I am enjoying them. I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, all joking aside, from both of these guys that we do obviously take the mickey out of and stuff like that, they're both fantastic wrestlers. They've got so much ability. Neither of them are very good on the mic, and that's probably why they've struggled to kind of get over as single stars. But I completely agree. It's quite a good use of them in a tag team where they can all do flippy shit and like actual tag team moves and stuff like that. So,
and as we know, WWE have historically been a bit weak on the old tag team front.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anyone who does listen to sort of get all uppity about that. Like, I'm aware that there's been some great tag teams in WWE, being like the Hardy Boys or the Dudley Boys or whatever. But think about it though. There's a couple of good tag teams in the era in different eras. There's never been consistently a good, solid tag team roster. It almost doesn't justify the tag belts half the time.
Well,
Sorry.
I was going to say, I think it's a really good point you make. That is, I can't think of really good tag teams post that era, like post Edge and Christian, the Hardys, the Dudleys, who kind of took the, who then became.
I think that was some of the problem. I think there was a nice little peak in the Attitude Era where we had a good handful of tag teams, so it could pass around and it worked. But like you could argue the New Day, as one of the biggest tag teams there. I don't mind Miz and Morrison as a tag team. They have tag team before and they are a good tag team now. But it seemed like the WWE, in the Ruthless Aggression era, just seemed to have a preoccupation with any team they had. They'd just be like, well, let's split them up, because anytime a good tag team got a head of steam, look at, right, and people might not agree with this, and it's not really Ruthless Aggression era, but, bloody hell, Big Cass and Enzo, right? They come out to the main roster. They come out to the Dudley Boys. They come out looking awesome. And then it was less than a year later, they split them up. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. Needless. And it's that kind of approach they've had in recent years. For me, you need to see more people like Rick O'Shea and old Cedric. They're starting to look more like a tag team built together as well.
Well, that's it. They had match and ring gear this time, which is something that should never be overlooked for a tag team. Like, nothing. I think I've said this before. Nothing pisses me off more to have a tag team which is just, this guy and this guy, and they come out looking completely different to different entrance music as each other, and it's just like, what the fuck? That's not a tag team. It's just.
See, I think that's the problem. I think that to me says to us as the audience straight away, yeah, they're not staying together. We're not even going to bother synchronizing them because they're not staying together. Look at even Big Show and Jericho when they had their run as a tag team, which you might have forgot about because it's easy to forget, right?
Jericho, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jericho, and they even had their own theme music. Admittedly, it was an amalgamation of their two. It was Crank the Walls Down, but even so, it was like, yeah, go into it. I believe that he's going to stay as a tag team for a while now.
That's it, though. I feel like, the likes of, like, a mind of Chris Jericho probably went, well, if I'm going to be a tag team, then we need to have our, actually fought for it, whereas most of the guys were just like, yeah, I'm on TV, I'll take it. But
and as it happens, I think that I liked both their theme musics anyway, and I think when they combined the two, I thought it was something awesome. I'll be honest.
I think I agree, although I'm not that big of a fan of Big Show's music on its own. Just like, I don't know.
It's the Big Show.
Well, I'm a bit slow. Yeah. So, yeah, don't know. But, so in terms...
Yeah, so that was a good match, yeah.
I feel really bad because obviously we know Ricochet does listen, is an avid listener to this, and, we always, we don't give you the love that you deserve, mate. So. And
this is genuinely showing you a bit of love, Rick.
Well, that's
Hope you're having a good evening.
Yeah, definitely. I thought the match itself was really, really good, and I think it was a bit of a crime last week where they ended up losing to the Viking Raiders for kind of no reason. So I thought, they've been squashed before they've even started, but I think this kind of gave them a little bit of legitimacy to kind of crawl back and take a win. So feels like they are going in the right direction with them. But it was a match. It happened. Fair play.
The two people who've been separately named as people Vince McMahon, sort of didn't have any immediate plans for, I think they're doing really well, and I think they do really bounce off each other well as a tag team. And more power to them. I'd like to see them have a title run at some point.
Yeah, defo. Same.
They can go up against whoever's got the titles now. I'm sure it'll come back to us at some point. Whoever's got the titles.
Who's got the titles? Yeah, who knows?
Is it still Rollins and Buddy?
Who?
Sorry, mate. It's the Street Profits. I'm just being facetious.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Those guys. Fucking hell. I forgot they existed for a minute.
Don't worry. When we get to the Bianca Belair match, you will not forget that they're around.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh.
So I did promise that we would not digress today. I'll let you continue talking, Carl.
No, it's good. You just reminded me that those guys exist, and I've got to talk about them in a bit. So it's depressing me slightly. So that match was fine. We then go to the Kabuki Warriors in the back, who are just chatting some crazy shit as they do. A little bit of dancing.
Yeah.
Always an interesting segment.
Yeah, I've heard Vince loves it.
Well, yeah.
Good shit.
It is good shit. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
But then not so good segments. Fucking Bobby Lashley and Lana, man. Jeez.
Yeah. What
So
the fuck was that?
just when you thought it couldn't get even more fucking boring and annoying on a weekly basis, he didn't even have a match this time. He's squaring up to a fucking tire, and he's looking at it and going, "I'm gonna flip this tire as soon as I've warmed up." And then he walks off with Lana, presumably to shag her. I don't really know how else he's gonna warm up.
Yeah, well, nothing gets the most of running like flipping tires. I feel like this was one of them things where they thought was going to make him look beastie, right? But he looked like he struggled to flip the tire. And that's no disrespect to you, Bobby, because I'd struggle to even, I probably wouldn't even start lifting the tire. I'd probably just look fucking stupid trying to lift it, right? But the fact of the matter is, unless you're well into your weightlifting, we don't fully comprehend the weight of that tire. I don't know whether you agree with me on this, Carl, but I had no idea how much that fucking weighed. I'm looking at it he should be able to flip it, I think. Luckily,
I kind of base my judgments on stuff like that as you are.
Oh, sorry. Jerry Lawler actually clarified that for us after the fact. He said it was over 500 pounds, apparently.
Okay.
So, I needed that before I saw him flip the tire, because at the time I'm like, this is it reminds me of when they tried to do segments with Mark Henry being the world's strongest man. But those were segments that it did legitimately make him look strong, because it's stuff that you could, even if you don't, consider the weightlifting elements or all that sort of stuff, you understand. Like he was stopping a car from driving away, or he was dragging a car with a chain or something, or a big truck with a chain or something. You go, well, yeah, that looks really difficult to do. But and I know it genuinely probably is difficult to do, but it's flipping a tire, so it doesn't have the same sort of gravitas to it.
Well, that's it. Like for me, this was only the introductory segment, so he basically stood there, was like, "I'm going to flip a tire." That's all we saw at the time.
Oh, sorry.
No, but
spoilers, everyone. He flips the tire.
He flips the tire. So he ends up flipping the tire, like the main tire. But then he goes, "Well, anyone can flip that tire, okay? But can you?" No one can flip this tire, and it's an even bigger tire. I shit you not. Like, even speaking about this now, I'm thinking, what the fuck was this segment? And then, as you said, they made I think they purposely made him look stupid, because you could quite clearly see. So he had 2 failed attempts of lifting this fucking tire, and then on his last attempt, where he was getting all angry and kicking the tire, he literally just picked it up that easy and threw it. There was no, you know what I mean? Like, he can't act.
So you think it might have been a booking intention then, rather than him actually struggling?
Yeah, defo.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is something I don't understand. But I don't understand the whole storyline of them two anyway. The other week he was like, "I want a new wife" and stuff, and then she's there going,
forgot that this week.
I don't want to see them on my TV screen. Just fuck off.
Yeah, I don't know what the intention of this was, but when we were watching and we're in a universe where Braun Strowman flipped an ambulance, the tire doesn't seem that big a deal.
It doesn't, especially if you're then struggling to do it as well. So I don't know what they're trying to imply or whatever, but just doesn't land with me, so bored of it. Speaking of fucking things that don't land, or rather that do land and land wrong, fucking Nia's back.
Yeah, she is.
Nia's back, and
hold on to your necks.
The last couple of weeks we've been saying, do you know what, the match was shit, but at least she didn't nearly kill anyone. Can't say that this week, because she nearly fucking beheaded Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
So do you know what, she is unsafe, man, and it makes me laugh now. We spoke last week around the Ronda Rousey thing, where Nia was calling her out, saying,
I know, right?
She injured Lexi, and fair play. But oh my god, she is such a risk, and
it wasn't. She's a confusing risk, because generally in the ring she's okay. She's not great, but she's okay. She knows what she's doing, right? So I try to give her credit as a wrestler, but then when she does botch, it's always a fucking bad botch. Bad botch that could have really done some damage. Luckily, I don't think it did, but what the fuck?
It just felt lazy to me. So, there's been people saying, "Oh no, it was obviously how intended" and stuff like that. Well, it clearly wasn't. So it was obviously meant to be a fucking a turnbuckle bomb, and she goes to throw it and just kind of lets it slip. But it's so messy, and she doesn't show any kind of care or compassion for an opponent, and it just really fucking annoys me because it's just the basics. I don't give a fuck if your cousin's The Rock or fucking whatever relation is to you. Like, if she carries this shit on, she needs to be fucking sacked because it's not a case of a couple of botches.
Of stuff is it's a genuine worry. Like, anyone who thinks it might be a work, I think they're trying to book it as a work now, but you would not book that as a work because that could easily go wrong. You would not. That should have been a like you say, a turnbuckle bomb. There's no way that they said, deliberately knock her head on the middle turnbuckle. There's no way they'd have done it. Not in the cautious WWE era we've got now. And there's no way Kairi Sane would have signed off for that because there's so much chance, especially when you've got the momentum behind Nia to throw it towards it. There's so much chance that could have done some damage to her head or her neck. There's no way
exactly.
They booked it.
No.
It was definitely a fuck up.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just, I don't know, that's not nice to see, which is a shame because they actually tried to do some storytelling in this match, and Kairi was going after Nia Jax's knee, which obviously got surgically repaired, which is why she was out for so long anyway. So but as soon as that happened, I was just like, you know what, I'm done with this bitch because it's not a one-off anymore. It's just sloppy.
Exactly.
Constant,
yeah,
so.
And that's the thing. She's had more than one big botch now, so it's like, well, how many before she ends someone's career?
Exactly. So
we've seen wrestlers who are fantastic at what they do nearly end someone's career. You know, so someone who's going to botch regularly, it's only a matter of time. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to see anyone lose their career. But if she's going to keep being that unsafe, it's not good.
That's it. She needs to just buck up her ideas, basically. She needs to forget who she thinks she is, and she just needs to concentrate on doing her main job, which is being a safe worker. So, yeah, that bitch won, and I'm tired of talking about it. Next, fucking Rollins promo. So he sat on his throne because obviously he's got a throne because he's a messiah who's a king and a god and a priest. I don't no idea what he is anymore. But apparently, not many men know a lot of things. But he knows a lot of things, was the gist of the promo that he was saying. Ultimately, it's about 10 minutes of him saying, I accept your challenge. But yeah, I thought he's going back to the whole, I know it is the same gimmick as the whole Messiah thing, but going back to this, being a leader thing again. He's basically saying that Drew isn't a leader, and in times like this now more than ever, WWE needs a leader. So it's like,
they do, don't they? When they've sacked 19 superstars and there's barely anyone on the show, that's when they need someone to lead.
Exactly. Fair dues, I guess. Yeah, he's happy.
Okay. Yeah, this was a bit. I didn't mind the whole Monday Night Messiah, and I think Seth does it well, but this promo was a bit weak this week.
Yeah, it wasn't the strongest. No. That's for sure. Speaking of things that weren't strong, I feel like I don't know what they're doing, but for some reason we then had the Viking Raiders do a carpool karaoke.
Yeah, don't know what that was about.
Okay,
like
cool.
Why?
Yeah, no idea. No idea.
Like what's next? Are we just going to see them like cooking meals? Like the fuck? What was it?
I've honestly no idea. But
I've literally never heard them speak before, and then we get this.
Exactly, makes zero sense.
Yeah, and I guess they're maybe going for them being comical now instead of serious and looking beastie. I don't know. I mean, we don't even see them wrestle all that much anyway, so I don't know.
Well, that's it. It didn't work. Whatever they were trying anyway, it just felt weird.
But I'm excited to see what they do with it next week.
I said no one ever.
Yeah.
So that was that segment. They then went on to fucking hell MVP versus Apollo Crews. And why is it? Right, why have they brought MVP back? What we thought it was going to be a manager, which would have made some sense and maybe be potentially interesting. He just comes back now to chat shit for like fucking 15-minute promos and then to lose, because I don't think anyone thought MVP was going to win this. Apollo Crews does end up taking the win.
Logically, I don't know what to think with MVP, but he shouldn't have won. I'd have been very surprised if they give him the win, to be honest, and I'm glad it went that way. Surprised it was Apollo, but I'm glad it went that way.
Well, that's it. I think it's a very interesting kind of career trajectory for him because he was obviously very over in NXT. They brought him up, and then, it wasn't that long ago with Shorty G. He was fucking Sheamus's bitch, I think, wasn't he, on SmackDown the last time we were seeing him, and now he's like inserted into the Money in the Bank contention. So I can only assume they've done it because he can do flippy shit and there's ladders, and he's probably said, I'll do a sick bump, maybe.
Well, yeah, maybe. He's there for the sick bump. Yeah, makes sense. MVP, while we're on him though, Yeah, I think he needs to go away now. I don't understand what the idea is. Like, I'm going to try and be a manager. I'm going to talk to someone. They're going to upset me. I'm going to have a match. I'm going to lose. And then he does it all over again. Why? Who knows? Again, I still maintain he should be a manager and he should manage the Street Profits. And then those two can shut the fuck up. That's all I want. Make it happen, WWE, please. Please.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
So speaking of the lack of tact, they then go to a Ruby Riott promo in the back. There's just so much insensitivity here. I thought, there was loads of Sarah Logan references. They never actually said, "Oh yeah, obviously she got released," but they alluded to it every opportunity. We're like, "Oh, what happened to the Riott Squad?"
I wonder.
Yeah, it's like.
But this is where I believe they originally did plan on having Logan be part of this.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, either they've decided not to, or she's gone, "I'll go fuck yourselves," which I wouldn't blame her. But yeah, for whatever reason, she wasn't involved in Raw this week. But the original idea, as I understand it, was that she was meant to be involved in this Riott Squad reunion, sort of. But yeah, massively insensitive, like you say.
I mean, even if that was the case, it wouldn't have made any sense anyway, because she should have a broken arm now from the previous week, and she hasn't even been involved with this shit since the fucking Elimination Chamber, really. So,
well, yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, just weird as fuck. But this obviously then ended up leading into the match between Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, and I actually thought it was a really good match, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Ruby's been around for years on the indies, and Liv's only just coming up, but she impresses me more and more every time I see her. I don't know. I think she's going to be a star, and I know our last segment of the night we'll be talking about our kind of dream bookings and matches and stuff like that. But this hasn't made my list. But one match I would love to eventually see and get some love and some traction would be Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, I think because we know Alexa's a proven technician in the ring anyway, and she's got fantastic mic skills. Again, people might take umbrage to me saying she's a technician, but she's very good in the ring. Whether you want to give her credit or not, she is very good at what she does. And I think by the time you get to any sort of booking like that, Liv would definitely be on point for it. She's already miles better than she was as a wrestler, and in mic skills you don't get to see a lot of, but given the gimmick and the role she's playing at the minute, it works, But I totally agree. While it might not have made your list, that would be something that makes me sound a little bit fairy. That'd be something I'd watch. but yeah, no, it'd be a good match.
Yeah. But for this feud with Ruby, I'm guessing this might be the end of it now. I'm not sure, but Liv got a bit of a beating, but then ultimately ended up taking the win with quite a good finish. I thought it was quite a sick move. I don't really know what she calls it, but I thought it was a nice kind of a surprise, cutter, almost like similar to RKO vibes.
I think I agree. I think it was a nice almost shock win. Not a shock in the sense of a booking, but like you say, that the speed of the finish, really, I suppose. But I think this is a good place for it to end between her and Ruby, to be honest, because it's like, she's give I'll coin one of your terms. She's give Liv the rub now, and then that she can use that momentum going forward. I think the right person won the match, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with it. But I think this is probably the right place to end there and Ruby.
Yeah, so I think I'm interested to see what's next, and also if hopefully it is for Liv to go on to bigger and better things, but I don't mean that in a bad way, because Ruby is fantastic as well, and hopefully she's gonna go somewhere as well.
There's a place for these sort of things, and there's no discredit to Ruby, but even she'll know that her job then was to put Liv over, because that's the goal at the minute. And even some of the greatest wrestlers have had to job out to someone as part of the game. So, like you say, Ruby's great, and hopefully we see her move on to bigger and better things, but it's Liv's sort of time at the minute. She's got the spotlight, so, fair play.
Yeah, sound. So then, fucking hell, I've literally got nothing to say about this match. Another Money in the Bank qualifier match, Rey Mysterio versus fucking Murphy. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I want to say on this match is, it turns out Murphy is still their disciple of Rollins.
Well, apparently so, yeah.
Who knew? Even his entrance even included a massive picture of Rollins for some reason. Not seen them together in a long time. Last I think we saw that he was getting a load of shit from Rollins for being shit. And yeah, apparently he's still part of that group that doesn't exist anymore.
Apparently so.
As for the match, okay, that happened.
Yeah, it was a match. It happened, and the old man won. So obviously, Rey Mysterio is going to be
Because
climbing some ladders.
if anyone needs a push in the wrestling industry, it's Rey Mysterio.
Exactly right. That young fucking up and comer.
And I think it's only right, Carl, that we take a moment to thank Eddie Guerrero for Rey's victory. Thanks, Eddie.
Of course. Thanks, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. Viva la Raza.
Yeah. Damn you, Ray.
So yeah, literally, I don't want to waste any time talking about that. It was just a waste of time.
Yep.
And then so Zelina and Angel Garza come out and do a backstage, but they cut a promo. And they're saying, how do we even know Drew's going to make it to Money in the Bank? So they're basically implying that they're going to sort him out tonight. But Garza then ends up flirting with the interviewer woman, who seemed pretty DTF at the end of it. So it's obviously working.
Garza does what Garza does.
He does. So yeah, I thought that was quite funny. And then, fuck's sake, Charlotte Flair. Why? Just leave her on NXT. Just leave her on NXT. I can fast forward that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she comes out, fights Kate Carter. That well-known superstar.
We all know and love Caden Carter. Again, sincerely, no offense, Caden, if you're listening. But you're the unknown in this match. It's just a fact, sadly. You're up and coming, and naturally, Charlotte's going to squash.
Of course, because that's
how
what's going to happen.
That's how you build your career up.
I just don't understand, what's happened to the roster? Why are these the matches? I know, obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic and yada yada yada, but why is it only X, tiny % of good members of the roster can actually perform on the show? Where is everyone?
Well, for me, I do think they're using a lot of NXT because they're there anyway. I mentioned this last week that I imagine a lot of them have located themselves near the Performance Center because that's where they do the bulk of their work, bulk of their training. So they're the easiest ones to get on board. Plus, they're the young, hungry talent, so they haven't got the position that a lot of the bigger wrestlers will be to go, no, I'm not doing it. But it seems, I don't know if there's a lot either been told not to do it or just point blank saying, no, I'm not taking the risk. But yeah, this has become very NXT heavy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you've done nothing to build these people up beforehand. Not that you could have seen it coming, I suppose, but it's how do we get invested in matches when we only know half the people?
I feel like that, for the roster that's putting on a 3-hour show, this feels unbelievably thin of a roster. It's proper reach. And
how many times do we see Andrade, Austin Theory, Angel Garza, and Selena in this Raw, in this 3-hour Raw? How often do we see them?
Literally, I think that they must pop up about 10 times.
Yeah, and it's you're using them heavily because they're good. She's good on the mic and they're good at what they do, and there's a story to it. But you often to use them so heavily because we've got 3 hours to fill because of a TV contract obligation. Because I think if they didn't have that obligation, they'd probably have reduced this down by now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel I don't know where's the stars. That's what I want to say. I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but where's the stars?
We haven't seen. When did we see KO last?
Exactly.
Have we seen him since Mania?
Yeah. So he came out and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm now going to focus my sights on something else," and he's fucking disappeared. So what did he mean? Focus on fishing?
Oh, he's an accountant now.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
There's a whole thing. We can just do different skits each week where Kevin Owens is trying different careers. It'd be more entertaining than the carpool karaoke. Just little things like that. He was almost he's gone, right, I'll do this promo and then I'm getting off and going home and isolating. So now we've not got KO. That's just one example of he felt like he was heavily involved. So where's he gone? We haven't seen him for weeks now.
I don't know. Strange. It feels really weird. It feels like it's just 0 stars.
Yeah.
And then that happened. Flair was there. Woo.
Flair was there. That's a shared weight to happen.
Yeah, actually, I quite like that. Flair
went
was
to
there.
NXT.
Woo.
Flair was there. I can literally, right? I've just realised this. I can say that about Raw, NXT, and SmackDown this week. Flair was there.
Woo.
Because it was another Flair on SmackDown, but we got a Flair on SmackDown.
Yeah, he's the good Flair though.
He's the Flair you don't mind.
He's the Flair of which you care. So then the next match was Andrade versus Tozawa. Really good match, as you said. Andrade fantastic. Cesaro was really good as well. They know what they're doing.
I think they've worked together before, or it certainly felt that way because they made the match look good. They said it's smacked of people who've worked. They know each other well, or it certainly felt that way for me. But I think they've both been on NXT for a time, haven't they? So they probably have had a few matches here and there. But it was a good match from a technical standpoint and from a spectacle standpoint. It was good to watch.
Yeah, I think it was a really interesting booking choice as well because the Cesaro got quite a lot of near falls on Andrade. He really took him to town. So obviously Andrade ends up winning it as we all expected. But I don't know. I thought it was quite an interestingly booked match because Andrade didn't kind of squash him or anything like that. He looked at times like he was potentially going to lose. So interesting.
Oh yeah. No, it was an enjoyable match, to be fair, considering the names in it. If you'd have just read me those names before I watched Raw and said, what do you think of that match booking, I'd have been like, But it was actually probably one of the better matches on the card. Yeah,
agreed. Then, one of the worst moments of the whole fucking show, the primetime plebs come out.
Look, my drink's gone as well. What am I going to do?
And literally, the reason why MVP is never going to be their manager is because the fucking primetime players are just the fucking manager for Willow Smith because fucking hell, like, it's just the fucking Bianca Belair show. Like, it is
honestly
crazy.
Right. I some people might like the Street Profits. I don't know, right? Some might. I can't stand them. I fucking can't stand them. This entire match, I don't know how good Bianca Belair is in the match because all I could hear was those two talking, right? Commentators don't talk that much. Literally everything. The minute she'd even just do one little strike, it was, oh, damn, and stuff. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, honestly.
Let me watch the match.
We say this every week now, but they've tried to like do a version of New Day to put on Raw, and it's fucking. I'm not enjoying it at all. I don't.
Yeah.
For
anyone who didn't see Bianca Belair's match, right? The entire commentary was, here we go. Like, just honestly, don't just skip it. Just fast forward the whole thing because it's just totally distracting.
Yeah. So fucking hell. I mean, obviously, she's got a rocket up her ass. Bianca Belair. To be stupid to put her into the main event at the minute, since Shayna's also got a rocket up her ass. But I think once they're done with Shayna, she's going to be like fucking pushed to the moon.
I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I think this is Paul Heyman versus Vince McMahon in a lot of senses because Paul Heyman's all about Shayna and he wants to book Shayna and he wants to push Shayna and he's fighting for that. I think McMahon is a big fan of Bianca Belair. I think that's what's going on here. I think that's McMahon's choice, and I think that's why she's suddenly getting pushed so heavily. I think that she's going to be the star going forward because I think the Shayna sort of interest kind of fizzled out, and Bianca, like you say, she's getting a massive push now. And I think it wouldn't even surprise me if she gets that push just in spite of Shayna now. It's just like, well, yeah, we'll fuck her off into the ether, and then that'll be that.
Yeah. No idea, but fucking hell, if it means she's on my TV screen more, then I'm going to have to ask to fucking cover a different show because I can't stand her. I can't stand them. But then, fortunately, the main event was what we wanted to see. Is Drew McIntyre is back facing Angel Garza. This guy, man, he is a fucking star. He is like I literally just watch him. I'm in awe. How does he do what he does? Do you know what I mean? He's built.
Yeah, he's nimble, isn't he?
Yeah, he's built like a brick shit house. At Mania, he looked bigger than Brock. That's how big he is, right? He's there in the middle of the ring doing fucking kip-ups. He does a fucking over-the-top rope senton. Like hands free.
Yeah, like fully cleared the ropes. I was well impressed with that, man.
Like, holy shit. And then, he gets up and he's like, fucking in Zelina's face, like, do you like that? I can do it all. Like, I don't know. He's just, honest to God, he is fantastic. And it is a breath of fresh air. And he is the only reason that, I'm happy to sit through Raw. And it's the only reason Raw gets any fucking semblance of a rating because, he is fantastic. And, I'm not massively big on Seth Rollins at the moment. I was in the past. I used to be a massive Seth mark. I'm not currently thinking he's that over in terms of what he's doing, but I'm still really excited for this match, and it's mainly because of Drew now. Like, considering he's never been a world champion before, he feels like he's belonged in this picture for fucking ever. He's really.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. It feels so deserved. Like you say, it feels refreshing, and I'll be honest, any match he's in, it's not going to be a bad match. Like the Seth Drew match it's going to be a good one to watch, despite what I said earlier. The reason I'm not behind it was from a booking point of view. you know, from an actual match point of view, you know, we've seen Drew. We know he can go in the ring, and like Seth's proven year in year out that he's good. So, you know, it's going to be something to watch, definitely. But as I say, just it's more from a booking point of view because of where Seth is at the minute in his character and in his story. But yeah, I don't think you can discredit the match. They're both sort of very good at what they do, and it'll certainly be one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. But no, I thought this was a fantastic end to the show. Drew was just a star. I just wish so much that he had a crowd. You know what I mean? It's such a shame, but you know, crowd or not, he's killing it every week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm quickly becoming a massive Drew McIntyre mark.
Yeah, no, I can totally see why. I know you were all for him at the Rumble. And again, he was the right choice, and he's proven week after week after week that he is the right choice. I hope the title run goes for a good while.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was Raw, and unsurprisingly, it's the same. I feel like I'm just on repeat. It's 3 hours to fill, and it baffles me how they cannot fill it with something more entertaining than what it is every week. You know, a really quick rundown again of what we just spoke about here. Fucking, they're really big on Aleister Black, and I literally think that's just because there's no other fucking stars, so they're just trying to make someone, and it's not working for me. So that was doing me head in. Shayna, I give her some shit, but I think it's working. It's getting over what they want to get over, despite whether I like her or not.
I think that's the thing. We have to pull away from personal preference sometimes as well, don't we?
Exactly.
And we don't like her, but you know, it is working, like you say.
Exactly. So, you know, fair play in terms of that, but you know, fucking hell, for the rest, like Bobby Lashley, man, why is he taking up screen time? Nia Jax, why is she in the ring in the first place when she nearly killing people? Yeah. Fucking Viking Raiders doing carpool karaoke. What is that? What is that? Like, really? Fucking hell. MVP, like, are we in fucking SmackDown fucking 2002? Like, why is he there? Why is MVP and Rey Mysterio fucking still there today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just goes to show.
You thought you'd be saying that about 2020.
Exactly. Like, it just goes to show, like, the main takeaway from Raw for me and how I feel about it is WWE has done a terrible, terrible job of creating new stars, because there's fucking no one on there who I give a shit about other than Drew McIntyre, who's pretty much made himself.
There's some points I'll make when we get to the ringside report about comments Vince McMahon's made, but just I want you to keep Rey Mysterio and MVP in the back of your mind for those comments.
They are etched later on.
Sorry, in terms of your rating then.
So you know, taking everything into account, there's no way I can get more than a 2. And the reason I've given it 2 is simply because there was 1 or 2 decent matches. Andrade's match was pretty good. I liked the Liv and Ruby match, but McIntyre he's just fucking legend, and he just continues to hit it out the park, and you know, everything he does is gold. So he's probably 1.5 of that 2 just himself. So I guess it gets a 2 for me. But once again, it's a painful 3 hours. It really is. Yeah,
I'm afraid I probably have to give it a 1.5. You know, and it probably would have been higher. And a lot of the stuff that bugged you probably didn't bug me as much. But the main thing that dropped my rating down was the Street Profits. Like, it does nothing for Bianca Belair coming up, and it's just great. And like, I'm sorry that was included in my week of wrestling. So, for me that's dropped down. So I probably would have got a 2 as well, but they've knocked that 0.5 off for me, because it's like I could have done without that. So 1.5 from me, mate.
Fair, very fair.
Awesome. So that's Raw.